We have a trader who turned $458 into $80,000 in just a month. Someone turned $70k into $1.1 million trading on max margin. On the other hand, this trader lost $352,000 on margin. And we have a trader who turned just $6,000 into $1,250,000 but then lost half of it. And we are starting off with a huge gain by Nerdowell. What a ride this month, mostly thanks to Nvidia, Tesla and HSTZ. As we can see in the past month, he's up by more than 17,000% or $79,567.70, and his account is right now worth $80,026.21, which would mean he started with just $458.51, but in reality he started with $1,200 in mid-September. His account is now at 100k, with the majority of it coming in the past month. He withdrew 23k around the time his account got to 30k from some Tesla puts when the stock dropped from $220 to $200 in one day. The majority of his gains this month are from Nvidia. He bought 15 puts with an expiration date on December the 30th and a striking price at $177.50 when it was around $178, and sold for a 10k gain when it dropped to $154. Then he bought 30 Nvidia puts with an expiration date on January the 6th and a striking price at $165, and sold them for a 48k gain when it dropped to $142. And the only position he has now is 30 SPY puts with an expiration date on January the 20th and a striking price at $375. So in just one month he went from less than $500 to $80,000, which is the same as multiplying your money 175 times. But even if we take a look at the longer time span, his gain is still insane, because he turned $1,200 into $100,000 in about 3 months. Well, huge respects to him. Next up, we have a huge loss by One Click You Die. He lost all on the market and he works real estate, both that, starting the year with missing his mortgage payment. And he's asking how to tell his wife and kids. So he's paying $2,817 a month for his mortgage, and he has $2,050 left in his escrow balance. He's been trading since 2016 and has paid multiple courses online and in person. He had a good run, but it all came crashing down, so his performance probably looks like the S&P 500. And he admits that to some extent it was gambling, but there is a part of him that truly tried and even thrived way beyond his imagination and did not quit while he was ahead. And despite his painful losses, people in the comments actually gave some good advice. Show her this post and see how she reacts, and then say it's you. Gotta sell a house, man, get to work and be straight up with your wife. If she has an income, she can help save the house. Who cares how dumb you're going to look? Own up to it, man. Your kids depend on it. Next, we have an insane gain by Micah Sol's The Best Waifu. 2022 was a good year. Turned 70k into $1.1 million. As we can see, his first account was worth around 52k on January the 21st and is now worth around 660k, and his second account was worth around 31k and is now worth around 356k, and I must say both of these charts look very consistent. Otherwise, he has 5 more accounts, but they're much smaller in size. He also took out around 100k to pay off his parents' debt and buy them nice stuff. Now here comes the insane part. He was max margin basically at all times and kept flipping from short to long and vice versa. He didn't have much success with options, so instead he max margined with shares. I'm honestly so confused. How was this guy full on margin and didn't get burnt once? Well, he was swing trading, flipping between long and short, sometimes running long and short at the same time. He has huge watch lists, and one of his theories that ended up panning out was not all sectors and stocks will get hit at the same time. This thesis helped him make a lot of money, as he was able to rotate shorts around sectors and stocks that got hit into ones that didn't, allowing him to compound his gains. He usually has a short bias, but he's very conscious of bear market rallies and tries to position himself in a way so he can benefit from them. He watches the wicks, keeps an eye on the sentiment, and has a bunch of other indicators to help him make educated guesses. He watches the market 10 hours per day, and he thinks that to win this game you have to see reality as it is and not as you want it to be. Delusion equals death of your portfolio. One thing that helped him see reality as it is not just betting in one direction. Most people just go long, so they delude themselves into being bulls. If you go both long and short, there is less of a chance you'll delude yourself into being bullish or bearish when the facts suggest otherwise. And he basically likes margin more than options because of of liquidity, no fata decay, not having to be conscious of IV, and the fact that he was able to win a lot more consistently. And in his opinion, it's a lot harder to be right with options. Otherwise, he wants a few million, as he wants to be able to run a barbell portfolio and be able to make meaningful passive income. Plus, he wants to buy his parents a house, and his current positions are shorting around 6,000 shares of Nvidia, shorting around 1,000 shares of CAT, and being long on ASTS with around 210,000 shares. He's also using margin right now and will continue to increase margin as his positions move in his favor. Well, congrats on finding a profitable strategy for him, and hopefully he can just continue making more. Anyway, next up we have a huge gain by Steve WPNW, who had a good year. As we can see, in the past year he's up by 197% or $45,249.41, and his account is currently worth around $68,208.03. And looking at his chart, we can safely say that he is one of the most conservative traders, as his chart is rising very consistently. No, but seriously, it looks more like he had a good day than a good year. He firstly made money with a combination of fata gank and light use of long calls. His next play will be TGTX, which should release red for a binary event by December the 28th. Unlike the previous two accounts he's blown up, he will only be buying 1k worth of calls. His lowest point was being down to 18k from 23k from Amazon shares, and he basically managed to scrape back to break even by end of November before hitting big. This win was 100 shares and 3 call options on MDGL, with a striking price at $120 and an expiration date on February the 17th. And he's up by so much because the stock went up by more than 260% on December the 19th, and he supposedly knew the stock was going to go up because he researched the winner from November and the company stated it would be in track. Plus, the company has only 82 employees on LinkedIn, but in the last month or so they had 3 to 5 positions related to marketing and drug commercialization. This meant that at least management had high confidence in the results about to be publicly released, and luckily he sold half of his shares at $215 and is letting the rest ride. He locked in the calls by making a vertical spread so he can realize gains in the next tax year. All in all, a nice gain. Next up we have a huge loss by Sugar Fries 1. His wife's boyfriend is gonna be pissed as he spent their vacation money. As we can see, his brokerage account is in deficit of $109,604.16, and he can't open new positions until this deficit is resolved. How did that happen? Well, he got exercised on some QQQ puts. He held them hoping for a miracle. He doesn't even know how this happened. He doesn't have the shares and doesn't want to talk to Robinhood and let them know he's alive. And luckily he changed his email so they'll never find him. Well, hopefully it's just a mistake on Robinhood's part. Next we have an insane gain and a loss by Das Wasser is called, who turned $6,000 into $1.25 million and then into 465k. He firstly turned 6k into 61k on Robinhood. Then he moved his gains to Charles Schwab, where his chart starts rising quite exponentially in September, but then in October it just completely skyrockets to $1,246,972.67. But just as quickly as it went up, it comes crashing down. Then his account goes stagnant for a while, and I think he withdrew his money once his account dropped to 400k. He mostly traded SPX, SPXS, SPXL and SPY. Puts were the majority of gains, and he lost that 1.2 million due to fear of missing out. He fell asleep, didn't buy puts, market tanked, bought puts, and then the market rose. He couldn't handle losing below $500,000, so he quit shortly after. And he didn't stop at 1.25 million because he wanted to get to 1.7 million, at which point he was going to retire, as he was counting his portfolio in terms of Lambos, and he needed at least 3 more. It truly is marvelous to see greed take over. I mean, at the peak he had already multiplied his initial investment by more than 208 times, but at least he stopped at 400k and didn't lose more, which is still an insane gain considering he started with just $6,000. And last but not least, we have an insane loss by Volt2218. In the past year he's down by 93% or $352,050.57, and his account is worth around 25k. His chart is extremely chaotic. At the start of the year he made some nice gains, but then his account dropped almost straight down. Then it slowly bled out. But then he made a 180 and I think he even got to break even. And then once again his account dropped almost straight down, was flat for quite some time, finally made made some nice gains, but then it just slowly bled out. And the worst part about his loss is that he deposited all his life savings of 12 years and lost. He saved to buy a house and got greedy to double it up and pay the house on cash. And he lost his savings by buying shares of SoFi and lose it on margin. They kept dropping for margin call, sold for a loss and back holding the options. He'll cash out leftover 20k and plans on putting 5k YOLO in SPY 0 days till expiry options. Well, hopefully he somehow makes an insane gain on those options. And if you want to see how this trader lost more than $5 million in just a week, click on the video that just popped up. And if that is not enough, smash the subscribe button as it will help me out a lot in reaching my goal of 500 subscribers. If you have any questions or recommendations, leave them in the comments down below, and thanks for watching.